And we would like to ask you, please, to speak up when you are here for two reasons. One, because of the recording and for the benefit of those who are online. And also because we have some noise, if you hear, in the back. And so in order for us to be heard, it's good if we project ourselves. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our presiding officer, Eric Laxer.
Thank you, Elvis, and thank you for stepping in as our Sergeant at Arms this evening because Cameron is out of town. Good evening, everybody. I'm delighted to welcome you to our meeting tonight. We have some guests and some new members here, and raise your hand if you've never been to a Toastmasters meeting. Okay, fantastic. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here with us tonight. One of the nice things about being at a Toastmasters meeting is when somebody comes up to the front of the room, they'll usually introduce themselves and their role, and they'll explain to you what their role is during the meeting, so it's easy to follow along. One of my honors before each meeting is to acknowledge and welcome our new members. And Toastmasters loves to give ribbons out to people for different accomplishments. And so we have 3 new members that I'm delighted to call to the front of the room and present their ribbons to. Will you all please join me in giving a warm welcome to Colby Carrillo, Anaya Brown Moore, and Wiley Robinson. Welcome all of you to our club. Welcome. And you don't have to say a speech. So we look forward to your participation. And if you have any questions about anything that goes on here, please feel free to approach any of the members. So we're glad you're all here. Thank you for joining us. Another tradition at our meetings is we give our guests an opportunity to introduce themselves and just tell us a little bit about why they're here. And in order to do so, I'm going to call upon the one and only and incomparable VP of Membership. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Colin Stifler.
Thank you very much, Eric. I'd say you're looking mighty handsome today. I know you're always handsome, but there's something particular about your look today, sir. So thank you for the kind words. I have to repay his compliments with some compliments too. Nice little Tuesday we got going here, right? Yeah, better turnout than last week when it was beautiful outside. We probably had some people at the bar down the road and whatnot enjoying themselves, but great to see this turnout tonight. How we doing? Yeehaw, right? All right. As Eric mentioned, one of the things we love to do is to learn a little bit about our guests. Taking that first step in Toastmasters is always so hard, right? I think a lot of us can identify with having Toastmasters on our radar for a long time, but taking months or maybe even years to get around to test driving a Toastmasters club. But you're here tonight as a guest, so we applaud you for that. I'm going to start over here. We're going to work our way around. We're going to ask our guests a few questions. Number 1, what's your name? Number 2, where are you from? And 3, what brought you out tonight? So we'll start right here with Colleen.
Hi, my name is Colleen Roach. I'm here for the second time. Last week was my first, and I just want to be a stronger speaker as I grow in my career.
Hi, I'm Bhumika. I'm Bhumika Panchal, and I'm from India. And what brings me here today is I want to improve my public speaking. I'm scared of speaking in many people, like the stage fear, and I want to work on my communication as I grow in my career. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Cameron Davis, and I'm looking to grow more in my speech, be a little bit better speaker. So yeah.
Hey everyone, Dan Leskowitz. Grew up in Buffalo, but been in Charlotte for 9 years or something at this point. This is my third meeting as a guest. I will pull the trigger and I'll find you after and I'll join. But I'm basically here because I speak a lot at work, but you can never be good enough. And I've always got those pre-speaking jitters and I'd love to get rid of that.
I don't know if you ever get rid of the pre-speaking jitters. You get rid of them, John?
I do not. I do not. I think you always have those little bit of butterflies, but something I was taught by my father is that whenever you get that nervous energy, you can think of it as your superpower kicking in rather than your preceding or about to fail. So just something to think about.
Harness it. We're learning how to harness it here. That's right. All right. Looks like we got one more fabulous guest over here. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, my name is Neelam. This is the first time I've come to Toastmasters ever. I heard about Toastmasters probably in November in India. I've been in Charlotte for about 8 years now. And for some very strange reason, this kept coming up 2 or 3 times. So I felt that it was a sign that I needed to come and explore this more. Very happy to be here.
Let's give a warm Queen City welcome to all of our guests. Again, thank you so much for coming out and seeing what this is all about. This is a judgment-free space. So what that means is no one is going to laugh at you or judge you when you mess up. If you mess up, I'm not saying that you will. Many of our members mess up. I choke on a word. I say the wrong thing all the time, but you got to just keep rolling with it. This is a safe space, group of friends. There will be an opportunity for you to speak tonight, if you so choose, to our guests. We'll signal when that time arrives. But in the meantime, let's get this meeting started off right.
Thank you, Colin. Admirably done, as always. What part of Buffalo are you from? Is that in Buffalo or? Okay. No snow there. You're out of the snow belt. Oh, you got snow. I lived in Buffalo for, yeah, I lived in Buffalo for a year. So just, we can talk afterwards. It was a great experience, actually. I want to mention a couple of things that many of you already know, but next week is our 70th anniversary celebration. Let's give it up. We have a very, very exciting evening plan. I'll share some details about that at the end of the meeting. I also want to point out that on your tables, you'll see these little pieces of paper, and giving feedback is very important at Toastmasters. And so if somebody comes up here and does something that you like and you want to compliment them, or you want to offer some helpful suggestions, then you could write it out on there, put their name on it, and just either hand it to me, or I'll usually walk around during the meeting and I can pick those up from you. At all of our meetings, one of our members signs up to lead the meeting. That member is called our Toastmaster of the day. We are in for a real treat this evening. Our member tonight, who is our Toastmaster, has served in possibly the most important leadership position in the club. And he is the one who makes sure we have the finances to keep the club running. He is our treasurer. So this gentleman deserves a lot of respect, not just for his position, but for his intellect. And he always shares very useful information with us when he comes up here to speak. So please join me in giving a rousing, I'll repeat that, a rousing applause of appreciation for our treasurer, Toastmaster Jamie Richardson.
Thank you, Eric, for that fantastic introduction. I don't know about always useful information, but hopefully at least interesting information. So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am delighted to be back here as your Toastmaster of the evening. That means I'll be your Masters of Ceremonies for the meeting. And some of you may recall from my last speech that I shared the story of Alfred Nobel and the Nobel Prizes. He funded the Nobel Prizes. But what I was surprised to learn is after the meeting, having talked to some of you, that you were not all as familiar with the Nobel Prizes and the most recent recipients as I expected. So tonight in our theme, I'm going to double down on the Nobel Prizes and spend a little bit more time sharing some of the most amazing accomplishments of just the recent 2023 recipients. And we'll touch on those as we go throughout tonight's meeting. But to start, I want to welcome a few fellow Toastmasters who will be helping me facilitate tonight's meeting. And we will start with our grammarian, who is Anaya Brown Moore. Welcome.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. My name is Inaya Brownmore, and I am your grammarian for today. I will introduce the word of the day. So, Jamie, I really love the theme of Nobel Prizes because it is a great accomplishment, and some might say it's something magical. It's something that you don't see every day. And today is National Unicorn Day. So in honor of that, today's word of the day is magical, meaning beautiful or delightful in such a way as to seem removed from everyday life. So you'll get maybe a special prize if you use this word. Thank you. Okay. Additionally, in addition to monitoring for the word of the day, I will be looking for common language or filler words that we would use, such as so, and just words that take away from the conciseness and brevity of your speech. And I will also be looking for great things that you did great, such as using a powerful language or captivating your audience through your sentence structure, and then also highlighting areas of improvement. So thank you.
Thank you, Anaya. And I love the word. You will come to learn as I share some of the accomplishments of our recent recipients that what they're doing truly is amazing and magical sometimes. I now want to welcome our timer, Toastmaster Dana Robinson.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jamie. I'm excited about tonight's theme. As timer, I'll be trying to keep everyone on time and hopefully giving some cues to everyone as you're speaking as to where you are in the set time for what you're supposed to be doing. So for example, I believe we just have one formal speaker tonight, Allison. Her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. So at the 5-minute mark, I'll hold up the green sign. She'll know that she's at 5 minutes. And when she gets to 6 minutes, I'll hold up the yellow. And at red, 7 minutes, means time to wrap it up. Table topics, the goal tends to be to get to the 1-minute mark because you're kind of speaking extemporaneously. It can be hard to think of how to answer the question and to actually stay up there for a minute. So I'll hold up the green at a minute. At a minute 30, I'll hold up the yellow, red at 2 minutes. Then we have our evaluators towards the end of the meeting, and I'll hold up the green for them when they reach the 2-minute mark, yellow at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and the red at 3 minutes. And at the end, I'll come back, I'll tell everyone how they did in terms of timing. And of course, it's all aspirational. If you go over, if you're under, it's okay. Everyone's here practicing. The point is just to get better. So thank you. And I'll hand it back over to Jamie.
Thank you, Dana. Well, given that we just heard from our timer, it's only fitting that we start with the 2023 Nobel Prize in Physics, which was awarded to 3 scientists for their research into attoseconds. What are attoseconds? I'm glad you asked. Attoseconds are the shortest amount of time that humanity can measure. They are literally 1/billionth of 1/billionth of 1 second. They are the speed at which electrons operate. For example, it takes an electron 150 attoseconds to rotate around the nucleus of an atom. So why is that important? Well, today, our current understanding of computing and technology is based on nanoseconds. And a nanosecond is just 1/billionth of 1 second. So if instead we can learn how to harness attoseconds, control electrons at the speed of attoseconds, it would dramatically improve our understanding of microprocessors. We could literally speed the ability of processing information by up to 1 billion times. Truly transformational work. With that, we're going to move into our prepared speeches. And you have also 5 minutes to 7 minutes or 300 trillion attoseconds. So if you can keep track of that, Dana. And our first speaker tonight is Allison Brogley, who again recently became an official member of Queen City Toastmasters after being a guest from our South Park office for so long. Allison's speech is titled 500 Hours, The Road to Becoming a Certified Pilates Instructor. This is a level 3 speech from the research and presenting pathway. And Allison is focused on making sure that we deliver a speech that helps people that are maybe not as familiar with a particular topic. So please join me in welcoming Allison.
$500 hours. That is how many hours I needed of coursework, training, observation, and teaching in order to become a certified Pilates instructor. How many of you all know the difference between Pilates and yoga? A very frequent question I get from someone when they hear I'm an instructor that is not familiar with Pilates is, Pilates, that's really similar to yoga, right? There are some similarities between the two movements. For example, they are both very focused on the mind-body connection. They both are working on increasing core and muscle strength. Your flexibility and balance can get a lot better from them. But there are a lot of differences between the two forms of movement. For example, when you take a yoga class, yoga is really structured generally with sequence of movements that are generally put together, whereas Pilates is more focused on controlled, precise movements. Yoga at its origins is really focused on that mind, body, spirit connection, all being in balance, whereas Pilates is more focused on that physical strength. The biggest difference that you would notice if you took a Pilates class, as long as it was not a mat Pilates class, is that you would be on a piece of equipment for the majority of the class versus yoga, where you're going to be on a yoga mat for the class. Another question I get frequently when someone has done Pilates and they hear I'm an instructor, thinking, oh, I would love to teach and get paid for something I like to do. What do you have to do to get certified? And there's always a long pause when I tell them it took me 500 hours, 10 training weekends, and thousands of dollars in training and travel. We may think when we go to our gym or we go to a studio that the instructors, trainers we see there just took a few courses to become certified. And for certain certifications, that is all that's necessary. But for other certifications like Pilates, it is a very rigorous process. This process starts with deciding which program you're going to do. There are numerous programs out there, all with different foundations and different methods. But the main thing that you would think about when choosing a program is, do you want to be classically certified or contemporary certified? Pilates was created in the 1920s by a German man named Joseph Pilates. He was very focused on teaching with specific exercises being done in a specific manner with a certain number of reps. If you are classically trained, that is how you are going to teach. Now, if you get a contemporary certification, this is what I decided to do. You're going to learn the principles, you're going to learn the exercises, but you're not going to be taught to teach it in a specific way. You're going to have a lot more flexibility in terms of how you're teaching. Now, once you've decided which program you're going to do, you're going to have to figure out location, which actually can be harder than it might seem. The programs really like to space out where their studios are located throughout the United States. And beyond that, you need to do the courses in a certain order. And so that also needs to be taken into account when you pick a location, because you are going to need to start on the first training course, and you need to ensure the studio you are going to has that first course when you are willing to start. Okay, so now you've picked your certification program, you have picked your location. Training starts now. The first couple weekends of training are going to be more book focused. They are going to be focused more on the foundations of Pilates, the anatomy. You're going to be learning a lot about how the body moves, movement principles, the foundations of principles of Pilates. Then we get to the equipment part. And what we're going to see here is the different forms of equipment that you are being trained on. So if we start, and we're going to go clockwise here, we're going to start out with the reformer at the top left. If you were to take a Pilates class in a group, that's most likely what you'd be taking in the class. We then go to the chair, the Cadillac, the spine corrector, and the ladder barrel. These training weekends are pretty exhausting, as you maybe can imagine, where you're very mentally and physically taxed from all the information you're learning and then having to do the exercises. While you're doing all these training weekends and then after, you now need to also focus on getting your hours in. These hours need to be focused on getting teaching, taking, and observing hours. Now, unless you have all these pieces of equipment at your house, which most people are not, you need to find a studio that you have easy access to that's going to allow you to do all of your hours there. Okay, so now you've done all your training weekends. You have gotten all your training hours in. You're going to submit your application and your hours in order to get approved to take your exam. It's going to be a 2-hour exam. The first hour is a written portion. The second hour is a teaching portion. If you pass both parts, you are now a certified Pilates instructor. I am so glad I got my certification. It provides me so much joy to be able to teach an activity that I truly love and have gotten so much benefit from. But that being said, if I had known all that went into this and how long it was going to take me and how much effort, I would probably have been a little hesitant to have started it. And I want to leave you all with this tonight. When we want to do something, yes, it's good to look into some of the details, but not getting into the minutia of what everything is going to be like throughout the process, I think is ideal. Because a lot of times when that happens, we're going to pause and not go through with it. If I had thought through everything that was going to be involved with this, I probably wouldn't have started. And when we don't start, we might be missing out on just a lot of things that are going to provide us fulfillment in our life. Thank you.
Great job, Allison. I have to say, I found some of the names of the devices a little intimidating. The reformer. All right, we have a little extra time, so we're going to do something a little different, which is invite Toastmaster Colin up momentarily or briefly to share a little bit more detail around our 70th anniversary celebration and specifically make a call to action to all of you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Jamie. What he did not say is that this speech is a 2-for-1. There's something that I have long neglected sharing with this club that I need to do tonight at long last. I couldn't put it off any longer. But to not make a liar out of Jamie, we're going to start with the 70th anniversary celebration, which I believe we're calling our Platinum Gala. Not sure as to the correct pronunciation there. But if you are a member of this club, would you please raise your hand? If you are a member of this club and have RSVP'd for our Platinum Gala next Tuesday, would you keep your hand raised? Okay. If you did not raise your hand and you are a member of this club, that means that your attendance has not been confirmed next Tuesday evening at this event of events for this club. It's a very, very special evening. There's been a lot of great planning that's been put into it. I'd like to, at this time, invite all of our members who have not RSVP'd to pick up their handy dandy cell phones. Navigate to your email app of choice, more specifically, the one that is associated with the account under which you are registered as a member of Queen City Toastmasters. And look for an email that was sent out at 5:51 this evening with the subject line, last chance to RSVP, QCTM Platinum Anniversary Gala. Probably last chance is all you really need in the old search bar there to get where you need to go. There's a little bit of text in there, but you should see a blue hyperlink that says using this link. If you want to read the preamble, you're certainly welcome to, but for the sake of time right now, you can just click right on that. And what we'd like for you to do is to go in and signify whether or not you will be coming or you won't be coming, and certainly hope that you will be coming. And then in addition to that, if you'll be bringing any guests, so friends or family, and to specify the number of guests that you'll be bringing. Tom. Good question, Tom. There's no such thing as a free dinner around here. So if you do come for dinner, you are staying for the rest of the evening. We're going to be locking the door. The fire marshal probably would be very happy with that, but the door will be locked. If you come in for food, you're staying the whole time. Yeah. Tom. Yeah, you think you could curb the day drinking just a little bit and get here by 5:30? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And if you do want to come and you want us to save you a plate of what will probably be room temperature food at that point, I don't know if there's a Zap box back there. We can do that for you. All right, but we will have to sign a waiver. I think if it's been out for about an hour at that point, the risk of botulism probably will have increased. So, all right, sounds good. Any other questions? Okay. Great. Well, looking forward to seeing all of our members next Tuesday. The next piece of information I'd like to bring forward to you tonight is in regards to a member engagement survey that was released in late January of this year. It's almost 3 months ago. If you know me, the fact that I'm standing here now to talk to you about this probably isn't a surprise. So I'll wear that one. I'll wear it. But with regards to that member engagement survey, we had 14 responses from Queen City Toastmasters. Of those 14 responses, 14 responded favorably, said that they would refer their friends to this club. So they're basically net promoters of the club. Our net promoter score is 100%, which is a great thing. Excuse me. There was, however, some feedback that was shared with us that I'd like to share with you all now, and that I would like to seek your mutual commitment in helping us address to make this a more powerful experience based on some of the concerns and shortcomings that were identified. And there were 3 main categories of shortcomings that were identified, or opportunities, shall we say. That's probably a more positive way to spin it. Opportunities for this club to improve the member experience. The first of which is in regards to alternative meeting formats and general meeting variety. The second category is in regards to the initiative that members take to sign up or not sign up for roles in advance. And finally, opportunities for fellowship and connection amongst members and potentially even guests. I will take those in order. With regards to alternative meeting formats, what a lot of people pointed out on this survey is that they really enjoy when we spice up this standard garden variety approach to a meeting. And I'm not shooting you down tonight, Jamie. This is a great meeting. This is spicy tonight. But in regards to within the general structure of a meeting of prepared speeches, impromptu speeches, and evaluation, injecting some creativity and some uniqueness into it in the form of improv, the confession game that you've done on occasion, David, trivia. And there was in particular an aversion to using speech time, as I'm doing right now, to handle administrative business for the club. However, I'm going to fight back against that one here in the next section. More initiative by members signing up for roles in advance, especially speeches. So in regards to that particular point of using meeting themes and prepared speeches to tackle business items for membership, I think that that is actually a reflection of the fact that by and large, we struggle to be consistent in signing up for roles in advance. Almost every week, there is some sort of a scramble to fill a role right at the 11th hour before the meeting starts. And oftentimes it's the prepared speech. You know, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort to prepare a speech to deliver it in this club. And I think the folks who are more likely to be giving speeches about the business of the club officers, are the ones who feel a unique sense of ownership about filling those gaps so that we can have a complete meeting. So spare them from having to come up with that on the spot by being a little bit more proactive, pushing yourself to sign up for roles in advance. And if you aren't giving speeches on a regular basis, try and inch your way there. I know that for many of us who are newer to the club, you want to take your time building up to that, but set a goal for yourself. Set a general guideline or deadline for yourself to really get out there and get it, you know, because that's what it's all about. That's why we're here on a Tuesday night. Finally, opportunities for fellowship and connection. There were two things that were really pointed out by folks. The first of which is social events, opportunities to connect with folks outside of the confines of the meeting structure. And generally, we do a good job of that if you show up early and if you hang around for a couple minutes afterwards. There's a lot of great conversations that are flowing. But we are thinking about ways as a club officers board to bring forward more of those opportunities. And I think next week's meeting is a great time to do that. So if you're interested in fellowship, if you're interested in connecting with your fellow members, please come out, have a great time with us next week. It's going to be an awesome meeting. One other piece with regard to fellowship and connection is mentorship. We talk a lot about mentorship in Toastmasters. It's, I think, part of the Toastmasters International organization as well, kind of highlighting mentorship as a benefit or a value of being a part of a club. But in terms of what that actually looks like, I think for many of us, you know, it might seem that mentorship means, you know, finding time to connect with somebody outside of, you know, your Tuesday nights, going and getting coffee or a beer with them, you know, on a Thursday or on a Saturday or something like that. If you're interested in that, that's great. Let's figure out ways to make that happen. But I also think that time is precious for many of us. You know, I myself, principally flaky, you know, member of the club, but their flakiness seems to be on the rise socially as well. You can find micro mentorship doses that you can kind of inject into your membership experience. You know, for instance, if there's somebody here that speaks, you know, really confidently or has a quality about them that you like or seems to provide really good feedback, maybe pull them aside afterwards and say, hey, you know, next time I give a speech, would you mind evaluating it for me? Or, hey, could I ask you some questions? Could I pick your brain about a few things? I think a lot of times there's folks in here, and I'm looking at the folks who've been, you know, in this club for 4 or 5 years or longer, who would make really great mentors, but I think that they're so unpresumptive about who might want mentorship that maybe just as a matter of humility and politeness, you know, they don't put themselves out there to say, hey, Naya, I know you're new to the club. Would you like some mentorship? If that's something that interests you, I'd be happy to provide that support or work with you to find somebody else in the club to provide that support, for instance. I know that's not something that everyone necessarily feels comfortable with. I think it's a two-way street where if you're interested in it, reach out, but perhaps we can think through more ways to offer that. And I do think that there's a lot of great conversations happening after meetings generally where it's like, you know what, Jose, I really liked your table topics answer. That was really great. And in particular, I really think that you have a great pace and a great intonation in your voice. That's your strength, like really lean into it, right? So being generous in unsolicited ways with your feedback too. And I think doesn't matter if you're a guest, doesn't matter if you've been a member for a long time or anywhere in between. Every one of you has a valid perspective that might help someone else here. So we're all here to learn from each other. Go out of your way if you're inclined to do so to offer some of that feedback. With that, I will turn it back over to Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. I think it's important that we take a pulse of the membership, and I appreciate, Colin, you investing the time in that survey. All right. Having heard some of the eloquent messages from Allison, it's only fitting now that we turn to the 2023 Nobel Prize in Literature, which went to a Norwegian author and poet named John Fosse. John Fosse is a unique voice. He's introspective, he's spiritual. And to bring that to life, I'm going to read one excerpt from his poem, Night Psalm. There is an earth that opens wide, its night of black abyss, and soul and body will it hide. until there's none to miss. Now, I can't imagine a more Scandinavian sounding poem than that. I have to imagine that's how every Norwegian feels after spending an entire winter with only 6 hours of daylight a day. With that, we will move to our table topics portion of the meeting. Tonight, to facilitate, that will be Toastmaster Eric. So please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Eric.
Thank you, Jamie. So for our guests and people who maybe have just been here once or twice, Table Topics is an opportunity to practice impromptu speaking, and think of it in terms of providing you with things that you can work on that have practical value in your life. So for example, when you go to a job interview, that's a form of impromptu speaking. Or if you're having a conversation with a coworker or a family member, people put a lot of effort into giving their answers to table topics. But often if you think of it just as a casual conversation, because that really is in one sense what it reflects, I think it allows you to give an answer that you're comfortable giving. So I have several questions that I've picked out here. We would like to ask for a volunteer who is interested in coming up and having the first question. And you can put your hands up now, or I'm going to close my eyes and pick somebody like Ruben, if Ruben's here. Ruben, would you like to come up and answer a table? Let's give it up for Ruben, please. Great job volunteering. Thank you for doing that. So pick a number from 1 to 8. 7. Okay, perfect. So the theme is awards and prizes. And just so people know, the table topics theme doesn't have to match the meeting theme, but sometimes we do it because it just enhances the experience. So here's my question for you, Ruben. Do you think businesses should give awards out for like Employee of the Month, Employee of the Year? And if so, what impact do you think that would have on the employees?
Thank you. Great question. So question was, should companies give out awards basically on a yearly or monthly basis? I think no. I think you see this in mobile apps a lot where they like try to add in achievements, and I don't know about you, but I really don't care about those in the apps. They always just get in the way of like what I'm actually trying to do. And I kind of associate that with Employee of the Month or Employee of the Year. Some people maybe love that stuff, but for me personally, I think it's rewarding how public your achievements are. And in a lot of places, your work, depending on what type of work you do, may not be very publicly available at all. So I feel like I don't really like it. I think if they disappeared tomorrow, nothing would change, and we'd probably be happier without it.
Thank you, Ruben. Do we have a volunteer for our next question? And our guests are allowed to participate in this. If you would like to come up here and answer a question. Jose, come on up, please. So, Jose, do you think that schools should continue to give out awards like class valedictorian at graduation? And if so, why or why not?
Okay, so the question is whether schools should continue giving awards like valedictorian. Those awards are given to students that they have like straight A's, right? Well, I think if a student gets straight A's through the entire career, semester and years, that's really impressive. And I think it's worth of, giving a prize. Although, on the other hand, it's a very tough thing to get, right? To get straight A's. So very few people will get it. But I think schools, they definitely should continue doing that. It maybe motivates kids to, try to get better grades.
Thank you, Jose. Do we have another volunteer? Yes, come on up. Becky, right? Okay, excellent. Thank you. So I forgot to ask Jose to pick a number, but you did very well anyways. You could pick a number. 3. Okay, excellent. Have you ever won an award or some sort of prize? And if you have, please tell us about it. But if not, and if you were awarding yourself a prize, what award would you give yourself?
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate the flexibility in that question, because if I didn't have a good answer for the first, I could choose a second. I did win an award when I was 12, really peaked early. I was a world tap dance champion. So I went to Germany and was part of the US tap team. And it was a very grueling training leading up to it. We had to drive from Massachusetts to Connecticut every single weekend for practice. And when we got there, it was right after 9/11. So it was a year after 9/11. And as you can imagine, the environment was quite tumultuous in the world. So fascinating experience. And sometimes when I talk about it, it doesn't feel like it was my life. So glad that you asked the question, because I don't often have a natural way to share that with people. So thank you.
You did say the world tap dancing champion? Unbelievable. Okay, well, that's part of the icebreaker speech. You tell us about yourself. So, all right. Do we have time for another one? One more? Oh, okay. Wow. Do we have any other volunteers? Yes, come on up. Welcome, Dan. So, Dan, there are 5 categories of Nobel Prizes: physics, chemistry, physiology and medicine, literature, economics. Is there one that you would identify with as being your favorite, or which one you think is the most important? And please tell us why.
Sure. So generally the question is, of the categories of Nobel Prizes, which do I identify with or maybe aspire to or something along those lines? I think literature is top of the list for me for a couple reasons. I can't do physics. The other sciences completely escape me. I just block them out immediately. I also just generally, as I was growing up, I enjoyed writing, even enjoyed doing some poetry when I was forced to by my teachers. There's also the ability, I think, when you're producing literature, poems, whether you're a journalist or what have you, sort of the ability to impact the world beyond just that poem, that article, that book, right? You're essentially leaving an imprint of your thoughts, maybe your recommendations, your philosophy on anyone who reads it. So I think there's potentially a big impact to be had there. I will also say that literature, in addition to not being a hard science, it's probably the most accessible right now, given the amount of resources out there. I will not accuse any Nobel literature laureates of using ChatGPT yet, but in like 5 years, I'm pretty certain that that's going to have to be a consideration. Thank you.
Great answer. Thank you for that, especially ChatGPT. Do we have another volunteer? Yes, please come up and join me. How do you pronounce your name? Neelam. Okay. Neelam, can you pick a number here? We still have a few left. Number 2. Okay. So I've already mentioned the Nobel Prize categories: physics, chemistry, physiology, literature, and economics. Is there a category you would like to see added? Is there a group or a movement, a skill that is not being recognized in that that you think should be recognized?
Thank you so much for the question. So before I begin, thank you so much for having me. And I wanted to applaud Allison for her speech. Great job, a lot of confidence. I cannot imagine myself yet standing over here and doing what you just did. So awesome. For the question, and I'm so happy that you asked me this question, because when your question was asked, I thought this was the question and I had already prepared the answer in my head. So for me, it would probably be humanitarian creativity, because we all are struggling so much and there is so much of waste in the world that you every now and then hear a story of some NGO or some group of young people who have created slippers out of recycled bottles, or who've created electricity out of some other waste material, helping villages, poor people, people who don't have privileges and the life that we live here. I'm originally from India, so you can probably relate that water, electricity, the basic needs are not so easily available. So to have an award for that, and for people, communities, youth to aspire to achieve such an award and even compete towards it, will bring so many solutions that even if one wins the award, there'll be so many solutions out there that the humankind will leverage from. Thank you.
Fantastic answer. Do we have time or are we moving on? One more question. Okay, last volunteer. Anybody sitting there thinking like, I really want to come up to the room? She just volunteered you. Now you have to come up front. How do you pronounce your name? Umika. Umika. Okay. Pick a number from 1 and 100. 30. Okay, perfect. I got your question right here. So in November, the Powerball prize was $2 billion, and it was awarded to one person. Do you agree that that's what they should do? Or do you think the $2 billion could have been split up and awarded to like a lot more people?
Can you please repeat?
Yes. Yes. So the lottery, it's the lottery. One person won $2 billion. They got all the money. Do you think that should continue, or do you think it would be better if they had more people who won so the money could be split up?
Thank you for this question. And I'm already nervous. What I would feel is, as the question says, should it be going to one person? It's a huge amount, $2 billion. If a large amount goes to just one person, it creates an imbalance. That's what I feel. And this is, as Neelam mentioned, it's like a lottery amount. So I think it should be split with top 5, or with all the participants, I feel. Because lottery thing is just based on luck. If we I don't have, okay. So what I feel is it should go to multiple participants, so that it should be split up, and more people can reap the benefits of that amount. There could be different interests participants can have to use that, and it can be that amount will pave way to multiple channels. It may go to some charity, or some may fulfill their dreams, some may invest. So that's what my opinion is.
Great answer. That was very well done. Thank you very much. With that, I will turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eric. Fantastic questions. Oh, yes. Totally. We take that for granted sometimes. So those were some colorful comments and stories from our table topics participants. Speaking of color, the 2023 Nobel Prize in Chemistry went to 3 individuals for their discovery and development of quantum dots. Now, if that sounds like something from an Ant-Man movie, kind of is. These scientists discovered these tiny particles that, when compressed and confined within small crystal structures, give off light. And they further learned that if they control the pressure and how hard they squeeze those dots, they can change the color. So this is a whole new material, quantum dots, a whole new type of material that is now being used extensively in televisions and displays. And for anybody who thought tonight that the Nobel Prizes are not relatable, well, if any of you have been shopping in a Best Buy recently and seen the Samsung QLED television, well, that Q stands for quantum dots. Pretty amazing. All right, with that, we will go into our evaluation portion of the meeting. So please join me in welcoming our general evaluator, Tom Williams.
Thanks. Good evening, everybody. I will be giving a general evaluation of the meeting, which pretty much just means I'm going to talk about whatever portions of the meeting that I want to talk about for a few minutes. But before I do that, I'm going to turn it over to our speech evaluator for Allison, David.
Thank you, Tom. All right, I will have to start because we all forgot, but Allison's speech was magical. Got to start using the word. And for the guests, we always like to give evaluations to our speakers. That's the way you learn and improve. You get feedback from a fellow member. And then also on our website, if you go to the bottom left where social media is and you look for the YouTube, you can see every single meeting we've ever had. And that's why it's all recorded. So you can go back and self-assess. So if you did a table topics tonight, you can go watch how you did. So it's qctm.toastmastersclubs.org. And then you'll see it on there. So Allison, you started with, your speech was called 50 hours, which I thought was a long time. I think I mentioned that, to become a Pilates instructor. I looked it up. In order to be a real estate instructor, you have to have 75 hours. And they basically just say this is a bedroom, this is a bathroom. So 50 hours I thought was a lot though. But just for the basics, you had good 500. Oh, it was 500? Oh, that's, wow. I missed a zero. Okay, that's, that totally threw the speech off. Okay. Well, you're better than a real estate instructor then, because that's only 75. Okay, 500. That's amazing. All right, the basics, you had good eye contact. You used the stage well. You had good hand gestures. Are you Italian? Okay, John could appreciate it. You're always using the hand and yeah. Good vocal variety, great projection, especially in this loud room. You always have a great voice, and good facial expressions whenever you were talking about certain things. You started by engaging everybody by asking questions. Yoga versus Pilates. I didn't know the difference. I don't even know what Pilates is other than what you showed up there. You talked about what was training or what was involved in the training, the time consumption of 500 hours evidently, and the time to drive there for instructions. You gave us a brief history about Pilates and who started it. And then you did your PowerPoint, which I don't like PowerPoints, but that's the perfect PowerPoint. It's one picture, and you just kind of said, and you explained it to us. You said, going clockwise, this is what you're looking at. So I thought that was a great way to do PowerPoint. And then you kind of reflected on if it was worth it for you or not. You kind of made it relatable to all of us.
And then you had your call to action, which was that we should all reflect on what we're doing. Don't overthink it. Otherwise we might not do it and we'd miss out on it. So I thought that was great. Room for improvement. It was difficult to find something, but I believe your intent was to maybe after all of those 500 hours to get some clients. So maybe talk about what it would be like to come to your first meeting, how much it is, something like that, just so when somebody gets an idea, like they might not want to do it. For instance, here at Toastmasters, we say just come watch. It's about $160 a year. That's about it. So people aren't intimidated. So maybe make it less intimidating for somebody to walk into a Pilates class. And with that, I'll turn it back to Tom. Thanks, sir.
Great evaluation as always. I've been informed that we have a second evaluation. Mr. John is going to treat us to talking about what Colin had to say.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Rather than provide evaluation for Colin, I thought maybe we'll just take this 2 to 3 minutes to make fun of you for 2. No, that's fine. Actually, what I would like to take this opportunity is I happen to be scrolling through some of David mentioned online. You have on YouTube, you can go and watch yourself. And for whatever reason, I went back and I happened to catch Colin's first meeting. And as I was, hey, there's Colin. This is the very witty, spicy guy that comes up here every meeting and introduces members and does so eloquently. And I thought, everyone's like, how could you be that good? And just proof that this is an evolution, that while still witty and like as he is now, thinking on his feet to come up with the content you did in a funny way, that there was some timidness and some hesitation. And it just proved to show that this place works, and just look how far he's come. Overall, let's just point out a few things that we know you all do well, and that's clearly to use wit. And wit is slightly different from humor. Wit is kind of like being humorous, but in a quick on your feet way. And that's what I think you do so brilliantly. You do it with the introduction of the members, but particularly, I don't know if you just thought of that content to come up with as a speech filler, but I thought you covered important points. I found it tremendously ironic that one of the complaints was to discuss admin stuff during a speech as a speech filler, but you approached it in a good way. You handled the tough questions from the crowd, from Tom over here. But other things I think I really like what you do is calling on people by name, calling Eric's beard handsome or what have you, but it allows you to connect with the crowd. And that is really, we're not just here to communicate information, but we're here to make sure that people are listening and that they are really absorbing what you say. You say it in a way that you talk about these uncomfortable topics, whether it's approaching someone for membership. These are things that I think that we need to hear, we need to say it because maybe someone doesn't want to go ahead and ask those questions. So those are things that I think when you're communicating, when you bring it all together, that it shows how much you've improved since your first time being there. I had to call it out. I was here to witness your first meeting. So just testament that this place works. If there's any room for improvement, you talk. I always follow the rule, tell people what you're going to say it, and then repeat it. You could have followed at the end, like, okay, remember to sign up for the 70th anniversary. Remember, let's try to be more creative, sign up for roles, consider mentorship. And I think that would have really drove it home. Other than that, we'd love to have you. Back to you, Tom.
Excellent evaluation. We all know Colin is the man. Thanks. Okay, so I want to start off my evaluation by giving a huge shout out to Elvis for looking super fresh today. Ditching the hat, showing us all what's up. Jamie, as Toastmaster, I thought the topic was really interesting. I kind of forget that the Nobel Prizes even happen. So to hear that people won them this last year was really cool. You did a really good job of transitioning between portions of the meeting. And I thought you gave Allison a particularly great introduction before her speech, really contextualized what she was about to come up here and talk about. And then I thought it was a really nice touch to read a poem from the guy who won the literature Nobel Prize, because it changed the tone up from being just strictly informative. So great job there. Then Allison, for your speech, I thought that was really interesting. I, as a matter of fact, did know the difference between Pilates and yoga, but that is because I live next to a Pilates studio. So I thought it was really great that you offered a little bit more context about what's going on in there. Because every time I walk by, I'm like, what is this? And then I really enjoyed your insight at the end. I found it to be really wise, I suppose, about not digging too deep into something so as to not discourage yourself. Because I really do think some of the best things that we do in our life are those things that we look back and we're like, I probably wouldn't have done that if I'd known all it was going to be, but I'm really glad that I'm here. So I thought that was a really great takeaway. Colin, good getting up here and talking. I'm going to take ownership over the feedback about not liking speech time for administrative duties. I wrote that. But I feel more motivated to do my part and actually sign up for roles and do some speaking, because I've definitely been slacking on that lately. So yeah, well, if I'm going to complain about something, I need to try to do something about it. Always great to hear from you. Table topics. Eric, you did a good job. Like that you had 8 questions. Definitely needed them. I saw you trying to end it after like 3. Do I have comments about anybody's answers? Ruben, I agree with you. They should not give out awards at work. I don't like it when people that aren't me win. And then also, it's like always the person you expect it's going to be. It's that guy who always does a really great job, and you're like, yeah, of course, John won Employee of the Month. Like, tell me something I don't know. Dan, you're a real man of the people. When you said literature, because you're not good at physics and you forgot the other ones, I really felt that, because I too immediately forgot them. And then I forgot them again when Eric said them again for Neelam's answer. Is peace one of them? What is it? Yes, okay. I was thinking that during Bhumika's answer. Okay, well, I just had some various things to say about the meeting. Overall, it went really well. I don't have any major criticisms. Thank you all for showing up. I think more people should sit on the left side of the room next time, because it's very heavily focused over here. Just something to take into consideration. All right, I'm going to turn it. Oh, wait. Yeah. Well, when you're standing, whatever, the other side of the room than where a majority of the people are sitting right now. Okay. Timers report. Dana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tom. Everyone did a magical job tonight with their speeches. We had 2 speeches in the end. Allison, you came in at 7 minutes, 19 seconds. Perfect. Colin, we didn't expect your speech, so I didn't know how long it was supposed to be. You came in at 9 minutes, 51 seconds. We're going to write some of that off because you were guiding people through checking their emails. And we'll say that you came in on time. 2-minute handicap. Yeah, because people had to scroll. And then table topics. Wonderful. Loved the table topics tonight. Ruben, you came in at 1 minute, 13 seconds. Jose, 1 minute, 7 seconds. Becky, 46 seconds. You were so close. I was like, she's going to get to a minute. Yeah, that's like the goal. Dan, 1 minute, 20 seconds. Mila, 1 minute, 35 seconds. Bhumika, 1 minute, 50 seconds. It was impressive. You came in the longest. For our evaluators, David, you came in at 3 minutes, 14 seconds. And John, impromptu evaluation, 3 minutes, 10 seconds. Great job, everybody.
All right, and now for our grammarian to come up and hopefully give a magical grammarian's report.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Overall, great job on the use of language throughout the speech. We'll start at Elvis. So we clocked 5 us, but nothing else. So I thought that was pretty good. Eric, we have 2 us, 7 so's, 1 and 1 like. But overall, you did a great job in like facilitating everything in discussion. So Colin, only 1 so, just an improper use or like a filler, but overall really great job. Jamie, I caught 0, so that's amazing. And Jamie was the first to use the word of the day, so really appreciate that. Dana only caught 2 so's, so really great job. And going into the speaker, Allison, I thought your speech was really, really great. I love the way that you use space and the pauses, and you really took your time throughout the speech. So it made it really easy to follow. And I didn't catch anything except for 1 so, but overall, that was really great speech. Job well done. Ruben, going into table topics, Ruben, we have 3 us, 2 so's, and 1 like. But I thought that was really, really good. And I thought, yeah, it was really a great job. And I think one thing that I would suggest to be mindful of is the use of I think, especially when sharing your opinion. I think it's very fitting to use it, but the constant continuation kind of distracts from the message, and might cause some uncertainty from the listener to what you're saying. So just being more confident, making it, you can say, I think, using less of it though. For Jose, I caught 5 us, 1 2 and 1 So I thought that was a really great job. And Becky, I caught 1 1 and I thought it was great that you used the word tumultuous. So I thought that was like okay, it's nice. So great job. Yeah. Great job on that. And Dan, I've caught 1 and 2 So, or I'm sorry, 7 7 us and 2 But overall, great job in your response. Neela, only 1 so really great job. And Bhumika, 6 us, 2 but good job coming up here and killing it. So thank you.
Thank you for the detailed grammarian's report. I really like it when it's detailed because sometimes people just get up here and they're like, everybody did great. It's like, okay, I heard some ums. Okay, thank you all for your time. Turning it back over to Jamie.
Thank you, Tom. All right, we're getting short on time, so I am going to wrap up our meeting with just recognizing finally the 2023 Nobel Prize recipient for the Peace Award, which is an additional Nobel Prize. And it was awarded to a woman named Nargis Mohammadi. And Nargis is an Iranian woman who advocated for women's rights in Iran. And for that work and effort, she was punished with 31 years in prison and 154 lashes. She is still in prison to this day. And once she heard that she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, she said, "I will never stop striving for democracy, freedom, and equality." So that's a message that I'm sure resonates with all of us, but perhaps something that we sometimes take for granted. So thank you. I will now turn it back to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Eric.
Big round of applause for Jamie. I mean, the man read poetry to us tonight. So with the remaining few minutes, I'm going to ask Colin, our VP of Membership, to go around the room again and get some feedback from our guest this evening. Colin, take it away.
Thank you very much, Eric. In reverse order tonight, I just want to hear your general thoughts on the meeting. We'll start with Neelam.
Okay, I really enjoyed it. I had heard about it, and the word safe space was shared a lot when people were describing it to me, but I did not realize how safe it is till the time I came here. I really appreciate it. It is intimidating speaking in front of everybody, but there is this feeling of acceptance in the room. That's awesome. I didn't know any of you. I don't know any of you, but it felt safe to come and share, even though I stumbled on a few words. So I really appreciate this atmosphere that you have helped create. Thank you.
Just want to say everyone's safe until Tom gets the mic. Then it's fair game. Dan, what did you think about tonight's meeting?
I loved it. No change in plans in terms of joining, so we'll chat after. I love it when we end on time, so I'll keep my comments brief. But thanks for having me again. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought the meeting went well. Everybody had a lot of good things to say, especially the table topics. I thought you did great on your speech, and I think you guys have a great group. So. Yeah.
I was today from the morning. I was very nervous. Like I'll be coming here and meeting new people. I don't know any one of you. I just spoke to David last week because I was not able to make it to the Toastmasters here. But to be honest, as Neelam said, it's very accepting the environment. And one thing I want to disclose, like before coming here, I watched a YouTube, like what is expected on the first day of Toastmasters. So in that video as well, they mentioned that it's very welcoming. You will observe a lot of clapping. That's what I observed, and I love clapping. Like it's good for your health. So it's like I can be, I would say, if I go forward with this, I can be vulnerable with my, like disclose where my weak points are or my learning points where I can progress. So it's a good step that I took today to work towards my communication, towards connecting with people. And I'm looking forward to more of this. Thank you.
I think it was a great meeting tonight. I do appreciate the consistency and structure of the meeting since our time is valuable. I really enjoy it when there's wit and humor kind of added to the speeches and the deliveries. So it's a great meeting overall. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I thought the meeting was very enjoyable. I've only been here twice. This was my second week. Allison, I really loved the point that you left us with as well. I know many people have said that, but I think it was very fitting and everybody can relate to it. So great job. And also realized I really enjoyed the feedback portion because I think it's really difficult to deliver feedback, both positive and constructive. I think everybody does a really good job of it, and it wasn't too scripted. It felt very authentic, and it felt that way last week too. So I really appreciate everybody's effort and contribution in doing that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And before we wrap up tonight, we'd be remiss if we didn't hear from two of our newest members who didn't get a chance to speak during tonight's meeting. Colby, How we doing, my man? Why don't you stand up with me here? Just take a look at that handsome fellow over there sitting on the pew with the glasses, like a fit Buddha, just projecting positive vibes throughout the room. What do you think his guilty pleasure is?
I have no clue.
Take a guess.
What even is defines as a guilty pleasure?
I don't know, like I don't know, he's gonna go home and eat a gallon of gelato tonight or something. I don't know. So, I mean, like whatever you think. You know what? That man has got it all buttoned up, squared away, but no one's perfect. He's got some sort of vice. What is that vice?
I got nothing for you.
Oh, come on,
No, I'm good.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Colin.
Wait. Why? All right. Just your thoughts on the club. You know, you took the plunge. You know, why this club? Why this group? Why this time?
Yeah, I enjoy the humor, the everyone kind of being able to participate. I really enjoyed the confidence that it started to give me being back around people again and being social again, because I'm fully remote for the past like 5 years. So yeah, just nice to be around people and be social and get back to my normal self.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Wiley. How you doing, brother? Yeah. So if I were to tell you that someone in this room here was a master ventriloquist, my money would totally be on Tom. 100%. Looking at that guy, I'd be like, he's the guy out of everyone in here. Let's just roll with that for a moment. What is his dummy's name? And what is the general vibe? Is it like sweet and spicy to kind of match his vinegar that he throws out at the group sometimes? Or like what's the general mood?
Well, this is interesting that you brought this up. Tom's dummy's name is Jerry. And it's a mouse. It's a big one. Yeah, and their shtick is that he chases the mouse
Okay.
around the room.
All right. How much money would you pay to go to one of the shows?
Oh, yeah, that's a question, huh? I don't know, maybe, well, it depends. I mean, there's a lot going on here. If it's a very active show, maybe $25. If there's just a lot of sitting around, I don't know, maybe $5. I don't know. It'd have to be, kind of akathisic to make it more.
$5?
Yeah.
$5?
Well, if they're just going to sit.
All right. Oh, you do like a sliding scale?
It's a sliding scale based on how much activity we got there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, thank you very much. All right, with that, let's bang the gavel on this one.
It's something he's very, very good at since a child.
Hot dog eating competitions?
Ping pong, right?
How's that a guilty pleasure? Yeah. All right. For some reason, ice cream keeps coming to mind. Cherry's Jubilee. Okay. All right. Never mind. We'll find this one out. But in any event, Eric.
Thank you, Colin. That was well done. And I really appreciate what you said. I know we're a little over on time, but we really encourage everybody who comes to our meetings to speak. And with the remaining time that we don't have left, I see Andrea is on camera, and I'm just going to ask Andrea to promote our guest speaker next week, because we really do have an incredible person who's coming to our club to speak at our 70th anniversary celebration. So Andrea, if you can come off mute for just a sec and just promote our speaker next week, and any other announcements you have would be great.
Well, everybody knows we're having our platinum 70th anniversary gala next week. And we have the one, the only, Lisa Marie Miller. Look her up and enjoy her. She is our 2020 first runner-up of the I can't talk tonight. 2020 first runner-up winner of the International Toastmasters Speech Contest. She has been speaking on hundreds, maybe thousands now of stages. She promotes racial equality, and she also teaches at Stage Time University. And she is a stellar coach. She's one of my coaches. So if you wonder why I speak so well, she was my first coach, my first Toastmaster mentor. So you want to come out. She is going to be talking on Be a Millionaire Speaker. And I know everyone comes to Toastmasters because they want to learn how to speak better, communicate better, and be a better leader. Well, this is the time to come out and learn from one of the best. See you next week.
Thank you, Andrea. She finished second in the World Championships of Public Speaking. I wasn't sure if everybody heard that, but that's what Andrea told us. So with that, thank you all for your participation. Yes. Yes, you can come next week. Yeah, same meeting time as everything we had tonight. So with that, if there are no further announcements, we will call tonight's meeting officially to a close. Thank you, everyone.